Welcome back to Not Another Industry Podcast. I'm Damilare Sonoiki, and this is a conversation with Shareef McDonald. He is a former Wall Street professional and who is now the creator and host of REVOLT TV's weekly hit segment, Maconomics. He shares the understanding of financial literacy from an urban perspective. Here is Shareef Ross. All right, man. We have the legendary Ross Mac, man. I'm very, very happy to have you, man. I love the wealth sweatshirt. You just did Earn Your Leisure. I know you have something going on with Netflix, man. I'm welcome, man. Thanks for joining me.
Damo, my young dog. I appreciate you having me. How you living, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Man, I just want to go, so you, like, your whole journey has been so interesting, right? Because I know you in college you rapped. You rapped even after college, right? Like, how long have you been rapping?
Mm-hmm. I started rapping after college for sure, but I had songs out while I was working,
So what was that?
Morgan Stanley and stuff.
So just even backtracking, because you grew up in Chicago, right?
Yeah, Chicago, South Side.
So did you grow up in South Side? So you grew up in, like, what part? We're recording this. I don't like to date these things, but I guess we're recording this the however many 5-year anniversary of Fredo dying. So did you grow up Fredo Santana? But did you grow up like in the, like, what was your area like? Was it like the trenches, or was it more upscale, or was it in the middle?
I'm from South Shore, so it's arguably one of the the more violent areas now. When I was coming up, it definitely had its violence, but Chicago, you always have a way to move around where you're not as, as close to certain elements. But, I grew up, South Shore, not that far from Inglewood. South Shore is still, I grew up not that far from where G Herbo from. You feel me? Like, we both from the East Side. We both say East Side crazy.
So were you like, were you around that type of stuff, or were you like, obviously you ended up at Penn, so you were a good student. And I don't think you did you play a sport at Penn or no?
Not really. I played JV basketball.
Oh,
I still got hoop dreams. I didn't get a 10-day. But no, what I'll say about Chicago, bro, is like, if you growing up, right, raising kids, it's all about putting them in the right amount of extracurricular activity. So I come from, I grew up right off 63rd, going to the 63rd Street Y. You feel me? I grew up on 69th Street, so I went to 63rd, which is really up the street from a lot of them people that you would, talk about on some, O Block stuff, right? But yeah. I was never over O Block, but, we all probably at some point might have went to the 63rd Street Y, but at the end of the day, extracurricular is going to keep most kids out the street. So I'm playing baseball, basketball, football, and I think that's what most, kids for the most part try to do to really stay out the riffraff for real.
Okay, so you were never you managed to stay out the riffraff through playing sports, through extracurriculars, and I'm sure you were you must have always been good at school. You must have always got good grades if you ended up at Penn. So that's how you stayed out of it. And you had like, I'm sure your family too, right? Kept you out of it, or were they?
Well, I mean, when you really think about it, bro, it's just like you gotta. Like I won't say I came from a strict household like yours on some like Nigerian parent shit, but like my OG wasn't going off having bad grades, so I had to do that. But school also came dumb easy on some like kindergarten through senior year high school shit, so that was always easy. But like I'm saying, the like a lot of 63rd Street Y helped raise a lot of kids on the South Side.
Okay,
like, this is a fact.
The reason I ask is when I moved to LA, I started, I was around like Sosa and Fredo and stuff, and I didn't really click for me until, like, I remember a friend of mine, one of my friends from school, because like I was working in Hollywood, I would always be around like all these rappers and people who we listened to when we were in college, right? We were pretty close, I think a year apart in school. So like, I would listen to all these people, and sometimes I'll bring my friends around. Like some of my friends might be from, because I'm sure you've worked in the entertainment industry, with Netflix and now podcasting. At some point you get used to it, right? And so, sometimes if your friends come around, they're like, oh, snap, whatever. And I remember one of my close friends from school was like, yo, if Fredo, because Fredo would come to my apartment sometimes. He'd be like, yo, if Fredo's around, I don't want to be around. And I remember being like, yo, Fredo's cool, whatever. And then in 2020, when that FBG Duck stuff happened, they killed him at the Gold Coast. I'm like, oh, wait, these dudes are actually like at war. I didn't really realize how deep it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm like, oh, these dudes are really like, I started doing the research or whatever. I'm like, oh, wait, like Dirk's lost like 10, Dirk has like how many dead homies? Like G Herbo, he had that album cover. We had like 50 dead homies, and it's like nobody who's 25 or whatever should know 50 people who have died, right? So it didn't click for me until I want to say 2020. They're like, oh, this is like a real, like you always hear about the whole Chirac thing, and Kanye had those bars on Watch the Throne about how many they say this many soldiers died in Iraq, this many soldiers died in Chicago, but it didn't really click for me until that whole FBG Doug situation. So that's why I asked you, like, oh, like growing up, were you always aware of like, oh, there's that whole element, or was it more like it was not?
Oh no, I would definitely say I was aware, but once again, I think it's a great testament to my parents and to the environment that I always tried to be surrounded by. But like, you always, like, everybody that I know, unfortunately, has lost someone, and I think it's traumatic. But at the same token, it's like we get numb to it after a while, but it's real life here. And I had a quote where I said on Earn Your Leisure, where it was like, the quickest way to get rid of inner city violence is for every black person, you feel me, every black person to get life insurance. And I still feel strongly about that because, I think we can all agree that drugs is put into our economy. I mean, to our neighborhoods, right? I think we all agree CIA did that purposefully, right? But, and who knows, it might be a documentary at some point, but guns was also dropped into our hoods, bro. And so, you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of things that unfortunately are trying to keep us as black people at war with one another. A lot of higher powers, and for me, it's like, man, the only way we could really get rid of that is financial literacy and everybody being life insured. Because the moment everybody's life insured, right? If multiple people are dying, the powers that be are going to say this is messing up our wealth. When you really think about it, because when people have to pay out, right? Here's the thing, right? If all of us on Medicare, we all over the age of 65, and we get free health insurance from the government, well, guess what? The government, they realize they're paying out billions and billions and billions of dollars every year because us free Medicare patients are going to urgent care every week because, oh, my heart hurt or my blood pressure high. Well, guess what they do? They put preventative things in place in order for you not to go to the hospital as much. What does that do? That in turns takes them from paying out hundreds of billions of dollars to maybe half of that, or a third of that, or a quarter of that. Same thing that'll happen if everybody was life insured, right? You look up and everybody got, I don't know, Washington Mutual, Mass Mutual, whatever, all the different companies that are doing it. You look up and they're like, bro, all these young black kids that just died, I just paid out, $50 billion. That's unheard of. We don't normally do that. So they would then say, okay, what can we do? What type of things could be put in place to stem, the violence? Because every politician, I don't care if we in LA, New Orleans, Detroit, all of them have a good way of lowering violence. Oh, let's just hire more police or whatever. All that shit cap. At the end of the day, in my opinion, the only way that violence will truly be abolished, so to speak, is if when money is involved, when Wall Street is involved. And so I said that that clip really went viral, but a lot of people didn't understand what I was saying. They're like, oh, well, they won't insure black people. Like, okay, obviously,
raise the rates or whatever, yeah,
premiums will increase, but they missing the point. What I'm saying is, it's so many preventative things that are put in place in order to make sure Medicare patients ain't going to the doctors as much, because health insurance companies, the government is paying that. They, goddamn, okay, how can we get that lower? Same thing will happen when it comes to making sure that, Wall Street ain't paying out all these all these death benefits.
Right.
And so that's really how I look at it.
Yeah, and it's sad because a lot of these people, I mean, most of them don't have life insurance, don't have, I just saw that recently PNB Rock's girlfriend was talking about he didn't have a will. He didn't have, she's just the girlfriend, so I don't think she would get taken care of if he did have a will. But, so have you always been, because we met on Wall Street, that whole, we were doing the whole.
Who
Wall
did
Street
have
thing.
a life insurance on PNB Rock? His fucking label, I bet.
His label, yeah. The labels have. I was talking to
saying?
George Sheedy about that. I don't know George Sheedy. He's been really deep covering as a journalist the YSL Rico and just the whole violence in the rap community in general. And he was talking about, all these labels, they have life insurance on the artists, which I don't blame them, but it's sad. Like, I think that once it clicked for me how real a lot of these things are, it's tough because like you appreciate the realness, right, in the music, right, when somebody's rapping about something that they really lived. But it's also like, man, like once you get to a certain level, these dudes are multi-millionaires. Von, Dirk, Youngboy, all these people, they're like multi-millionaires. And it's sad that people are still engaging in these kind of petty, petty situations.
I look at it from the top, all the way from the top, right? The label execs want to push that. They like to push that shit to our community, right? Like, motherfuckers, like,
the listeners,
conscious music, right? You could talk about, is it the consumer or is it the labels? Is it iHeart, and they disc jockeys and they music programmers and supervisors pushing a certain shit to our hood? Like, bro, I shouldn't be at 2:00 turning on the radio and motherfuckers talk about killing somebody all the time. Like, that's really our culture, but I really believe it's the powers that be that allow that type of stuff to even be, like, from a programming standpoint. Like, think about the type of artists that used to promote maybe some type of change or something. Like,
Common.
They weren't going nowhere. Common, fucking Talib Kweli, them type of rappers, bro. They not going gold. And I ain't saying, like, at the end of the day, right? Like, it's some shit that, from a frequency standpoint, the beats is different now. Like, the shit rocking, right? But like,
that's the tough thing. It's fire.
It's hard. It is hard, but at the same time, it's like, to your point, like, I want, if any of the artists you just named, right? If they put out a whole love album or some shit, or they talking about financial literacy, a fraction of them gonna fuck with it, but they might gain some new people. But if that's all we hear, then that shit gonna go. Like, at the end of the day, and that was this clip that went viral one time, and they was talking about the problem with the music industry. They like, the moment an artist talk about killing a white person or any homophobic or any obias in general, right? That person could get canceled, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, we saw the baby, yeah.
But if a rapper talk about killing another rapper, that shit going viral. That shit top 100 Billboard, and it's a very interesting thing that make you ask questions like, how is that okay, but this other shit ain't okay? You feel me?
Yeah,
is there freedom of speech there? But why? How are we allowed that to, kill our? You know what I mean? Like, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's tricky. I've been thinking about it sometimes when people be like, oh, like, I remember when the video came out of the baby at the Walmart shooting, and people were saying, oh, it's not. I mean, he got the cops had that video, so people were like, oh, he's going to get charged. It's not as simple as he made it out. But it's like, people, I don't know, like, and I hate the whole cancel culture thing, but you'll be like, oh, like, the baby's canceled for saying something bad. But it's like, King Von was killing people. Like, it confirmed, like, and it's like, I mean, he was dead already, but like, King Von killed a person, multiple people. I mean, allegedly, but like, we know. And so it is weird, not weird, but it's like, okay, you can kind of get away with that, talking about killing your fellow black man, black woman, but then other things, I mean, and I don't even want to get too deep into the whole Kyrie, Kanye type of thing, where certain things will shut off all your deals, but certain other things, like, oh yeah, like, you can rap as much as you want about, smoking hookah and killing, diss all your homies, all your, all the dead, your ops is dead homies, like, go, be all for it. And, I think that with music it's tough because I see it like artists are like journalists, right? So it's like, you can blame them for rapping about violence, but it's like they're rapping about what they're seeing in their community. But I do think, once you start getting real personal and talking about F this dead homie and that, and, I'm going to kill this person and that person. I even, like, recently 21 Savage on Clubhouse talking about, just kind of saying a lot of things about
I've seen that.
every out that we had that, it's tough. I don't like it. I feel guilty because I listen to the music and it's hard.
Yeah.
But I really wish that it would be on a different type of, because people really are dying, like that, like, Duck, all that stuff. But anyway, I mean, just to get, I mean, you're not, I mean, you're a rapper, but you're also a money man, Maconomics. Have you always been like in Houston, for example, we would have the people in middle school who were selling candy, like these people who was always about their money. Like there was like selling candy in middle school. Were you that person, or were you like, did you come into it later?
I was always that person. I was selling candy in 3rd grade on the school bus.
Yeah, I had a feeling. I had a feeling you were that person.
I was always about money. I threw parties in high school. I had my own clothing line. Yeah, drills was in kind of into college, and then in New York or just after college, right? Young adults. Yeah. When we was on our Henry flow, a high income, not rich yet flow. That's a whole marketing term. That's a whole marketing term. But I was throwing parties in high school with the bros. Shout out to all the bros, man. Big bros, big B's up, beyond relying on society. I sold CDs. I had a clothing line. I was selling all type of stuff, bro. You know what I mean? I was always about.
I had a feeling. I had a feeling that you were always, because you can always kind of tell like certain people have that in them, where it's just like you just know they're like a born hustler. Like I feel like you were always, and you can remember, you had the drills, and I mean, for listeners, like, we were in New York, we're young, making a little, making some money, Wall Street. You would throw the parties, and then when did that graduate to more? You started doing music, but then when did that also graduate? You were working on at I won't say JP, right? Or was
Morgan Stanley.
Yeah, all right, Morgan Stanley. So you were doing music. You were a trader, right? You were in sales and trading.
Yep. Yeah, I was on the high yield sales and trading desk.
So just explain to the people what that is, because I know a little bit, but I was in investment banking. So I'm, when people talk about Wall Street, 100-hour, these 100-hour weeks, I was the guy making pitch books. Twitter's gonna go IPO, or Facebook's gonna acquire Instagram, or this company's gonna buy that company, or like this company's gonna raise debt, raise equity. But you were the person who was selling that, who was selling or trading all that stuff. So what was that like?
Yeah, so on the high yield desk, what you're doing, right? Like you say, you're making the pitch decks for companies that are either trying to buy another company or go public, etc. Well, generally, if a company is trying to raise capital, right, they borrow money via debt. And what we were doing, we were packaging and we were selling the debt. So on a high yield, we are covering the companies that are what you would consider not investment grade, or AKA like junk bonds, right? And at the time, you got to ask yourself, like the same way us as people, as us as consumers get FICO credit scores, companies, when they borrowing money, they get scores as well. And so I'm looking at companies that have
triple B, all that stuff.
Exactly. So we're looking at companies that don't have the greatest credit rating, but they're good companies. So I'm looking at companies like Toys R Us in the midst of getting ready to go bankrupt, right? We're looking at, whether it's high yield bonds, CLOs, distress.
That's a collateralized loan for the listeners. That's a collateralized loan obligation. So
So literally, when you loan money, but you putting some collateral up, right? So the same way, if you got a bookie or something, you say, man, put your watch up, shorty. But yeah, we were doing it on a high scale, right? You talking to the biggest companies in the world, right? Verizon go out to the market and borrow, $1 billion or something. Some nutty stuff. And so we part of that, and we calling Fidelity, PIMCO, BlackRock, Vanguard. We calling all our top clients, and we're saying, yo, how many of these you want? Okay, put you down for 50 million, put you down for 80 million. And that's exactly how, the stuff go. But it was a very amazing experience, because it teaches you everything about the inner workings of a company, right? Like, I feel like on investment banking, you have to know the inner workings and how to truly value a company. The good thing, before I could get on the desk, is actually trade, actually be on that desk on the phone with clients. I had to do a year of research. So my year of research was one of them things where I'm reading 10Ks, 10Qs, listening to them earnings call to really be able to say, okay, I know everything that's going in and out of this company. I did a year of research where I covered retail companies, home builders, and tobacco. So it was real. I hated that, but it was fun.
Yeah, I mean,
in
and it's
hindsight.
funny. It's funny, like just how much you sometimes you think that certain investors do have a lot more information than you, but just I mean, you can learn so much just from reading public filings, right? Reading 10K, so
Right.
that's an annual report. Reading 10Qs, those are quarterly reports, and then just reading, just these different. I think Warren Buffett, like yeah, obviously he has certain, he can get meetings with he can get on the phone with the management team, but a lot of what he does is just read filings. And I think
Hmm.
that's something that anybody can do, right? If you're trying to, get out there and invest. And so after that, you went and worked at a hedge fund, right?
Yeah, I went back to my hometown of Chicago, where I went and worked at Grosvenor Capital.
And so what was
I
your
was on
role
the
that you were
credit
in? Were
team
you
there.
you an analyst, or I mean, or associate,
Yeah, I
or
was on the, I was an associate for sure, but I was on the credit team there. So the firm itself managed over 50 billion. My team oversaw like 10 billion, 10 to 11 billion. So we were looking at all, things from a credit standpoint, investing. We had some actual like co-invest deals, etc. But we were investing in other credit hedge funds though. So looking at big shit like Anchorage, and they were like, okay, we're buying. They have a portfolio of shit like who I'm trying to think of the company they had, because they owned all of like the James Bonds and shit like that. It's Golden. It's like the movie company that own all that shit.
Golden? And I was gonna say Golden Nugget, but no,
Like yeah, but nonetheless, right? I'm looking at it, but I can't think of it right now to save my life. But yeah, so that was fun, right? And then you look at, but then when you really realize it's when you start thinking about alternative investing, right? There's so many ways of making money. Like there are people that make money because they buy up and just repackage. People buying, it's called catastrophe bonds. So like you live in Houston, right?
yeah,
When there's a hurricane there, everybody that has a home might have hurricane insurance, but they might not have flood insurance, right? That's a whole nother thing, right? And so there are people that literally make a living every year by literally buying up all the premiums that are being paid for, whether it's hurricane insurance, whether it's tornado insurance, all that type of stuff, right? Wind, all that. Like it's a crazy business there. I was looking at companies that did reverse mortgages, where it's like they buy a package of old people with no dependents that are literally saying, you can have my home, give me cash, you can have the rights to my home when I die. You know what I'm saying? So you have
there's so many ways to make money. It's really incredible.
You know what I mean? And so you just really be looking at that type of stuff.
And so you were doing music this whole time too. Like when did you start doing music? Like that was after college, you said?
Yeah, I always, for the most part, because I mean, you live in Chicago, everybody for the most part was rocking, trying to make some music. I mean, that's every inner city, I would say. Shit, we had a studio in my high school, where I was making music and shit. So I made a few songs in the dorm in college, but like I didn't get serious into it for real until like after college. Did a few dope shit, had a few songs, opened up for a few dope people, went on tour with some dope motherfuckers. Had my song placed in a lot of dope scenes of movies
Yeah.
and
So talk about that. 'Cause
Netflixes and TV shows and shit.
Yeah, I remember you talked about this where, 'cause a lot of people think about music and they just think about touring or streams, but sync deals, like getting publishing sync, like there's so many different ways to get paid. I remember you talked about it in another interview somewhere where you're talking about how you started like, hey, maybe if you're not getting played on the radio, if you're not getting played on, certain places, you can get your music placed in shows and movies. So how'd you start doing that?
Yeah, so and that's something I always tell all artists, like, bro, the idea of being a starving artist is just so backwards. There's so many other ways of getting money, right? But one of the greatest things, and shout out my dog Allende, he had put me in tune with a music supervisor. I had no idea what it was, but then I did more research. I'm like, yo, this is a cheat code. Because when you realize anytime you hear music on either a movie, commercial,
yep,
a TV show, a video game, etc., they have to get it cleared. They got to license that music from the artist, in order for them to be able to use it. And so what you find is that if Drake put out a song, right? I don't even know. I know he signed to Young Money or whatever, but I think that might be Warner or some shit.
Yeah,
like in order to clear a Drake record is hard as hell, right? When you hear artists like, yo, I need somebody to clear this, clear that, like the idea of clearing something for like the commercial use of in a TV show or something is way too hard. So that's why when you hear TV shows and you watching Power or BMF or any dope ass show that you like, you're going to hear some artists that you never heard of and the shit going, but just realize they found like the music supervisor, right? Those are the people that are over that. They found a smaller artist who's not signed, who they could pay a fraction of what they would have to pay Drake, or because they got their labels and shit like that. So you look up and you realize like, yo, that is a great way, because every song or every TV show needs music to take some scene to the next level.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
It's one of those things that's very, I mean, you just need it, right? Like if there's a murder scene, like there's some creepy music, right? If it's somebody happy, we're going to have some techno EDM. If it's a black party, it's going to have some hip hop stuff, right? Like, and at the end of the day, they have to pay those artists in order to clear it. And so I found a niche where it was like, I was getting, hey, Tyler Perry show on BET, they want to use this record. Cool. Because when Tyler Perry, when he first started putting all his shows on BET, they was just coming. And so my music my sync and licensing company that I use, they got great relationships with certain people. So you look up, you'll get a BET placement. Look up, you'll get a show on Showtime placement, a HBO placement, a show, it's a movie for Netflix, right? And so at the end of the day, there are artists that don't do anything but make music for TV shows. So think about it. If you are in tune with the person that's over all of music supervision for Fox, BET, or the CW, or anything that get these shows, well, guess what? They got a budget for all of this. You could be literally just, they'll tell you, hey, I'm looking for, Jack takes Candace on a date, and this is the type of song we want. Candace breaks up with Jack. This is the type of song we need. Don and Tommy going to a football party, after party. So they're telling you the type of scenes they want music for. And sometimes either you already got it in your wheelhouse, right? In your arsenal, or you could go and just literally make it on the spot.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, I remember like just working on shows with myself, like working on Blackish and stuff, just clearing music, or finding that right music for that right scene. It could just take a scene to the next level. It could just really,
absolutely,
even just help out with the story and everything. And so, when did you start kind of making? I mean, first of all, you gotta tell us, man. How are you gonna make some money this year, bro? The past year, I feel like the past year and a half, 2 years, really since COVID, right? We had everything go up crazy in 2020, and it's come crashing down. But I know you give out the tips, or not. I don't want to call them tips because maybe not financial advice or whatever, but you really cover the daily stock market and all that stuff. On social media and in your own private channels. So like, what's the, if we're trying to make money in 2023, what are we doing?
Great question, right? I mean, you can look at it two ways, right? Are you trying to make money in 2023? Are you trying to make money for you 5, 10, 20 years down the line, right? The long term, because, like I know the slow motion, right? The slow way is the best way, especially you already quoted Warren Buffett, but like one of the best ways is just flat out buying some of the greatest companies in the world at a discount. And 3 to 5, 10 years from now, this company is going to be much higher. So guess what? I took advantage of it. Same way you would go to Nordstrom's and say, man, they got this Moncler vest for 30% off. I'm going to buy it. You could buy some of your greatest companies out there right now for 40, 50, 60% off. So you can look at it that way. And then 2, right? That's just the long-term way too. You look at it and say, okay, what's really going to be shaking this year in 2023? I think we got off to a really good start of 2023. I think people are starting to see, okay, inflation's coming down, but it's still too high. Unemployment is technically too low still. So inflation might still remain pretty high. So you got to understand the Fed, Jerome Powell, and them are going to continue to raise rates. So in a raising rate environment, which might push us into a recession, some might say it'll be mild or not. But you ask yourself, what are the type of companies that are going to do well in a recession? Well, companies that are going to do well in a recession are the ones that are going to have inelastic demand. Whether you broke or rich, you're going to need to continue to buy these type of products. So looking at consumer staples, right? You're looking at healthcare, pharmaceuticals. But, this year, the way, me and Maconomics Club, right? We got the investment club. Shout out Maconomics Club. We are being disciplined, right? Buying, companies that we feel as though for the next 6 months are going to do well, which are the type of companies that I just mentioned, right? Some of those boring companies. But after that, it's all about positioning and buying some of the greatest companies that we will continue to see to innovate, whether they are getting into the AI or whether they continue to get into more cloud infrastructure, et cetera. So it's just like buying them good companies, but for the low.
All right, yeah, I like that. I like comparing it to going to Nordstrom and seeing something is 20-30% off. So how it's interesting. Like, I've always heard the whole idea, right? There's something that people say on Wall Street: don't fight the Fed, right? Because the Fed has the biggest balance sheet. But I really was able to see it, and I feel like we were all really able to see it in practice these past kind of 12 or so months, where the Fed is saying, "Hey, inflation's too high. We're gonna have to raise interest rates," and raising interest rates brings asset prices down for a whole bunch of reasons. And just watching, it's like everyone knew that, but then it was almost like people were still surprised by how much, you have some of these tech companies down 80%. I mean, maybe not, down 80%, and, non-tech companies. And so, but now I think everyone's been kind of waiting for this quote unquote Fed pivot, right? Where they're going to stop raising interest rates, or really stop raising them by as much. But I was kind of worried that it's like by the time, it's like you don't want to wait for the pivot because by then it'll be too late, right? So it's almost like you have to almost anticipate it. So how are you kind of thinking about that?
Great question, right? Don't fight the Fed. And for what people don't understand is the Fed is, like you say, that is the central bank of America, right? That is America's bank, and they are controlling the money supply, et cetera. And so when you talk about the pivot, right, we're in a raising rate environment. A recession will be the thing that will make them pivot. That will make them say, okay, we've raised rates too much. Now it's time to stop raising rates. Then, right, real recession, if it's drastic, all right, now it's time to start lowering interest rates. And at that moment, when the Fed start lowering interest rates, risk assets are going to take off, right? So whether that is, tech companies, well, stocks in general, but like the more higher, growth companies, higher multiple companies that are going to take off. But like you say, if we know that the Fed eventually will pivot, whether it's 5 months from now or 3 months from now, 5 years from now, it don't matter. The shit gonna be higher, right? So you could literally, from a trying not to time it, just literally being disciplined. And so the greatest form of investment advice is don't deviate from the plan. Invest monthly, right? It's on average, right? We're talking true professionals. Only 12% of true professionals can beat the passive investment way of just buying the S&P 500 every month and just sitting back and chilling. So 12%, that's like saying, I'm trying to get a real good analogy. I ain't never came up with one. Well, I'm doing it on the head. But it's like, you know what I mean? It's nothing wrong with just being patient and disciplined and saying, I could be a millionaire in 30 years rather than trying to, outsmart the Fed, outsmart the market, all that shit.
Yeah, no, I think also what you said about the most important thing I think also you said is about whether it's the long term or the short term. Like I remember I found out about crypto, like Bitcoin, in 2013. Like I was, on Wall Street, I was doing some sort of we were trying to see which payments companies, because I think they were like, fintech is going to be big. So which payments companies should we get close to? Because, bankers, they like to get close to companies way before the IPO, so they can say, I've been here since day one. You should pick me to take to IPO you to the initial public offering. So I was doing together, just looking at Cash App, Venmo, all these different payments companies. I saw this one called Coinbase, and I'm thinking, what's this Bitcoin thing? So I'm like, this is going to be the future. This is going to be it. I want to get paid in Bitcoin. I started buying around 300. 3 weeks later, it's like 900. And I'm like, bro, I did it, bro. I put my name in the rafters. You know what I mean? I just 3x'd.
But that's crazy, though. 300% return in less than a year is
in less than
not
a
many.
month.
in a month. If you annualize that, you're greater than every hedge fund manager, right?
But the move,
you doing tough shit.
Of course, but the move would have been to just continue, not to be like, all right, boom,
hold
I'm
it
up. It would have been to hold, right? And so I think, the greatest investors, I mean, there are some hedge funds and stuff that trade in and out of stuff, but they tend to be like high frequency using algorithms and things like that. Like the greatest people, they really have 5 to 10, I mean, they think in decades, right? They're thinking about, they're not thinking about I'm buying this company, I'm gonna sell it next week, next month, not even next year. They're thinking about they think about 2033, right? And I think that's one of the things, and it's tough though, because I think, I love that you used to talk about Black Wealth Matters. And I think, it's tough because to be able to think in decades, you have to not need the money right now, right? And so I think you could preach patience and stuff, but if somebody just, I can't pay rent with 2033 money, I gotta pay, right now. So it is tough, like how to kind of make, there's a whole idea that being poor is expensive, right? Because if you're poor, I mean, you're not getting direct deposit, you're cashing your check, and some check cashing place is going to take 10%. You're probably doing cash advance.
More than that.
yeah, exactly. So how do you think, when you talk about Black Wealth Matters, how do you get Black people, especially, because Black people just, because of the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow and all sorts of other factors, don't have the type of, it's hard to have a high time preference. It's hard to think about, I'm going to hold this asset for 10 years. So how do you do that?
That's a great point. For one, it's a mindset, right? Us as a culture, unfortunately, we've been conditioned, and that condition, rightfully so, has been taught us, okay, like to your point, people of color, right? Black people are traditionally underbanked in a lot of places, for real. But it makes sense because we don't trust banks. Banks have did us wrong, either going back from the Freeman's Bank, when all the free people put their money in the bank called the Freeman's Bank, and it was ran by white people, and they took all the money and made some fucking FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried type terrible investments and just blew the shit up, so everybody lost their money type shit. Or even most recently that everybody can remember is just the type of predatory loans they were doing from Wells Fargo to Wachovia, etc. So like, it's understandable. But what I will say, to your point, being poor is expensive, is Black people save money for what they want to save money for. You can be broke, but you can afford luxury things, right? Like, I looked at a Nielsen study, and it says, right, Black people make up 14% of the population. So should we make up 30% of all the money being spent on designer this or designer that? Or should we make up 25% of everybody buying crab legs and shit like that? Like we outspend other races at a disproportionate rate based on what we make up of the actual population. And so to your point, it's like being poor is expensive, but living beyond our means is truly expensive. And so when you say that, it's like, it's hard for me to set $50 or $100 aside every month to invest for my future. Is it truly? Or should you not have that car that has a $700 car note and your rent is $900? So should your rent and your car note be roughly the same? Or on the other side, should you be living there? Should you be paying that much rent? Or should you be going out to eat that much, right? There's so many things. Like when I work with a lot of people, what it really boils down to is people being humble and living below their means, because the vast majority of us live above our means. It's one thing to even just live at our means, right? Yeah. But then it's like, all right, living below our means. And I think gaining wealth requires, for Black people, right? Gaining wealth for us is going to require sacrifice. And that sacrifice, it might happen either you sacrifice a day for a better tomorrow for your kids, because that's what it really boiled down to. Like, our grandparents didn't have access to the internet, so they weren't able to goddamn come up with a business, weren't able to sell products on the internet. They weren't able to do this. So if we have access, and that's why you know, Nigerian, right? Like when I went to Nigeria,
Oh, I didn't know you went. Yeah,
They
that's
look
dope.
at they look at Americans as being very spoiled because we have access to things that they don't. That's why a lot of people that come from third world countries come here and they work so much harder because they realize, like, bro, motherfuckers don't even understand. Like, black people, we look at America as a bad, and from a certain light, rightfully so. But from a opportunity set, a land of the free, how virtually people have access to gaining wealth. Not all people, right? But you get what I'm saying. Like, so, right, if we make the sacrifice today, then our kids gonna live better. And I think that it all is a mindset. And I really say, live below your means for a little bit, so you can ball out later. And I think we live in a society, everybody wants instant gratification. Everybody rich on Instagram, but 70% of people don't have $1,000 saved. Over 2/3 of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. But if you go on Instagram and you scroll through 100 profiles, 100 motherfuckers rich. 100 for 100. 100% of everybody you follow is rich, and it's not real. Instagram is not real, but we all are brainwashed in a way, right? Black people, we condition, and we truly condition to pay our bills, pay Netflix, pay the weed man, pay to go get your hair done. We pay pay the barber, pay your rent, your car note. We all conditioned to do that on a monthly, but we're not conditioned to pay our future self, aka investing. And so I think it's important that us as a society, us as a culture, stress the importance of investing as much as we stress the importance of all other shit we talk about in our society. Who the better basketball player? Who the better rapper? J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar? Like, who gives a fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's a better company to invest in? Is it Tesla? Is it Microsoft? Is it who gonna be the best company that's gonna take advantage of AI? Okay, is it Microsoft trying to buy ChatGPT, or is it Amazon because they already bought fucking the little iRobots that be going around your house, so they already know what's in your crib? Or is it Alexa? Is it like, so with so many things that we gotta start having higher quality conversations that's gonna stimulate us to say, all right, I want to make more money.
No, it's funny. There's so many things you said there that, like, I want to touch on, because I do think sometimes I hear people say, America's a third world country and a Gucci belt. I'm like, bro, go to Nigeria, bro. People, we don't like electricity.
No,
is
we're
just
not.
like nobody, like, the idea of having 24/7. And I'm not trying to like shit on Nigeria. I love it, but like over there, 24/7 electricity is a luxury, right? You have, like, most people have generators. You have to buy diesel because the light goes out like that. And like the north of the country has a whole, people on a Tuesday, a bunch of terrorists might come and kidnap 40 girls from a school and you don't see them again. Like, America is very, very nice. You know what I mean? Like, when I hear that, I think about my, family members back there who like, yo, you think America's a third world country and a Gucci belt? Like, they'll trade places with you right now, like ASAP.
No.
And then it's interesting.
We take some things for granted, and what I will say, the way we've been treated here, black people as a culture, we have the right to complain about certain things. However, right, I'm gonna say period. There's no but after that. But I will say a but in the sense of, like, if we were to then go to a third world country, you'll be like, damn, I took such and such for granted. Like, the ability to be able to go to your local convenience store, the local fast food, and get a job damn near on the spot. Like, the idea of getting a job and making what is called minimum wage. Ain't no minimum wage in fucking Brazil and fucking, you know what I mean? Like, that's not happening all around. And so what you think minimum wage is in China? You know what I mean? It's not happening. And so people definitely, need to understand, like, there are ways that and that's what I'm saying, the sacrifice, like, we got access to stuff that different countries and continents definitely don't have. But also we get access to stuff that our parents and grandparents didn't have. So it's in our best knowledge to use the time we have, as opposed to scrolling, looking at Instagram models. How about follow people that's going to tell you, man, I'm going to show you how to get business credit. I'm going to show you how to invest. I'm going to show you how to do that. Like, I'm going to show you how to do a drop shipping business. I'm going to show you how to create a merch line. Like, it's a lot of stuff that the internet has equalized it, right? Like, when we look at like how people was getting rich back in the day, they weren't telling you. You just saw they was rich as hell, and there was no way to go find it because Google didn't exist. This shit was, me and my homies, we run in the textile industry. You and your homies, Y'all running the pig slaughters. Cool. Y'all got all the chickens on lock. Like, bro, when you think of, okay, y'all got all the railroads, the steels on, like everybody had their shit, right? And it's like now, because of the internet, I feel as though everybody, it's still barriers to entry in certain industries, but when it comes from it's easier now to get rich than it ever has been. And so, or just even be financially free. We won't even say rich. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like just the technology you can leverage, even like AI. Like I've been using Chat GPT, just playing around with it, and it can write a business plan for you. I mean, obviously you have to you would go through and refine it, but you can bounce ideas off it. I mean, I encourage anyone. Chat GPT is mind blowing. But it's funny. I feel like, so I think the idea of like cutting stuff out, right? Like, oh, like save, don't go out as much. I do think I think it's tough though, right? Because I think that the best thing you could do is to just increase your income. I mean, obviously, like you want to save, but I think like sometimes, like, okay, like let's say.
Well, I take it. I disagree. The easiest thing is to cut. It's the hardest mentally, but the easiest way to make more money is to lower your expenses. That by nature is going to have a higher bottom line. But I get what you're saying, though.
You're right.
I've seen this shit where they like, bro, not going to Starbucks 4 times a month is not going to make you a millionaire. Like, I get that.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand that.
Yeah, because I do think I remember I've thought about, I had a friend who would kind of push back. Like I never really had a position on it, but I think if you like making more money. I mean, actually, we've both been blessed to like when you go to the Ivy Leagues and you get to enter like a 6-figure job right out of college and you're doing the Wall Street thing. Like that's a different path than most people. But I definitely learning new skills, getting like increasing your income, I think it's harder. But in the long run, because like you said, like because I think sometimes people will shame, not that you're doing it, but people like, black people, they buy Jordans. It's like, all right, like, don't buy Jordans, buy a house. It's like, bro, like Jordans cost like maybe $300, bro. Like if I don't, if I don't buy a pair of Jordans, it's not like I'm going to move into a mansion because I didn't buy Jordans for a year. Some people have like serious shoe addiction where they buy like 20, 30 pairs, but that's different. But when people are like, oh, like, somebody's buying Jordans for their kids, and it's like,
But here's the thing though. And we condition to think that that's okay though. Like, bro. And then you will see the shit when they'll show a picture of Warren Buffett and goddamn Bill Gates and they be like, now the Gucci belt in sight. Like, I get that, right? Like, okay, that's cat. But there is something to be said about giving a young kid an investment as opposed to a toy.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to outgrow the toy, right? You're going to outgrow the toy and you're going to outgrow the clothes. So I think at the end of the day, it's like, what are we teaching our kids? And that's what that's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, and also those pictures too, like a lot of times they'll be wearing like Laura Piana or Brioni or something where it's like, Cuccinelli, where it don't have there's no brand, there's no logo, but that shirt costs about $2,000. But it's tough. I think that also, you're right. Like cutting things. I also wonder how we can make, because like flexing is so cool, right? Like how can we make investing cool? Because like I remember when I moved to LA, man, I was 23. I bought a G-Wagon. I was like, man, and I look back, I'm like, why buy a G-Wagon, bro? Like I could have bought some Bitcoin. I could have bought some ETH. I could have bought some a condo or something, right? And so, but like, especially with Instagram culture, it's like people want Chanel and they want Gucci and they want Louis, and like, how do you make stocks sexy? I mean, I feel like you're kind of doing that with Maconomics, but how do you make that a flex? How do you make? I mean, I feel like whoever figures that out will figure out, how to make it.
Well, we're doing it actively, right? We're doing it actively. Now, you ask yourself who the most powerful marketing tool is. The media. And by the media, we looking at, or your celebrities. But like, we starting to hear it, right? Jay-Z talking about
Jay-Z.
Nas, we starting to see our favorite athletes being really involved off the court, the Kevin Durant's and shit like that. But like, at the end of the day, right? If every day I put out content, and my content, if I'm touching a new person every day, that's good, right? And if I put out some content and then they in turn tell 2 people, like, the shit ain't gonna happen overnight, but the idea of making investing cool as opposed to flexing the new car I just bought. We just as a society got to really get like that, because they tried it, right? Okay, what's the new flex? Oh, show them what my NFT is. That shit's 70% cheaper now. Fuck is you talking about?
And 80,
but
bro, 95%.
90,
95%.
But right, to really have a conversation like, bro, I just bought some land. That's different. I just bought a new crib. A new crib has always been a subtle flex, but I just bought a beaten down fix and flip. Like, motherfucker, like, fuck is this? But it's like, bro, I'm about to make XYZ and I'm getting a tax break because of this, or a tax write off for that.
Oh, yeah. And right? Like, you're in the Midwest. I know Cleveland. I was in Cleveland recently, like Cleveland, Detroit. Like, there's some things you could do there with real estate where, you know, your money can go a long way.
Yeah, but I without a doubt, they making a killing out there. I know a few people who buying several properties in Detroit, actually. But what I will say is, as we continue to move forward, I think it's going to become more and more apparent. And the reason I say it is because the idea of investing was kept from us, right? And so now, through everybody got the ability to get on Robinhood, everybody got the ability to get on Instagram or YouTube and Google how to invest, how to trade. Everybody got the ability to go watch Get Smart with Money, my documentary on Netflix. Everybody got the ability to subscribe to, Maconomics, right? Like, everybody got the ability to start seeing that now.
Yeah, no, it's definitely more accessible. I think the other thing too is, like, making it cool and then making it fun. Like, I think, like, I don't do the daily, I don't do the sports betting and like the fantasy and all that, but I feel like everybody's doing sports betting, which, like, you could put that money, all those free bets and stuff, they know they calculate it to where they're gonna, like, the house always wins, right? And so I think,
right,
if you could make it somehow investing, if you could gamify it or something to make it fun, because I do think that I feel like everybody, especially now, they started kind of like usually the sports leagues used to kind of shy away from betting, but now you listen to any podcast, any game, they're talking about betting lines and spreads and all these things. So I wonder, whoever figures out, like I said with the NFT thing, making it investing more of a flex, we can actually share it, and then also making it more fun, where it's like a game where you can really kind of,
but it's delicate. It's delicate for two reasons, though, right? Because when you make it too fun, it then appeals. It looks like a get rich quick, right? And so we always get left holding the bag. What I mean by that is, we, as black people, unfortunately, might have got in there and bought GameStop and AMC too late. We might have bought Bitcoin when it was at 60, 70,000, right? So what ended up happening is that, when we start seeing investing as a flex, what it is actually people doing pump and dumps, right? Like, it's more of a predatory marketing that lures not as sophisticated investors into doing things with the unfortunate promise they think they're gonna get rich quick. So when you see motherfuckers like, oh shit, GameStop about to go to 1,000, oh shit, Dogecoin about to go to $1, and when you start hearing people at your barbershop, when you start hearing people in the hood talking about it, that's when the shit is too late. And so the real flex is this long-term investing, right? Learning other things. We can learn options, we can learn crypto, etc. But it's understanding that there's a true disciplined way of getting rich. Now it's a true way of getting rich. Boom, blueprint, right? Then, right, if you're trying to get rich quicker, right? Now, not a get rich quick scheme, but get rich quicker. Okay, how do I learn how to generate alpha? So I'm beating the S&P 500. I'm trying to, okay, I'm putting a little money in crypto. I'm putting a little money in this, but I'm now buying single name stocks. I'm buying options on this, yada, yada. There is ways that we will, make investing cool, but we also got to understand that there's some bad players out here that'll be preying on us for.
Yeah, well, how do you avoid that? Like, how do you avoid the perception of like, oh, like, because like you said, it attracts people who try to do the get rich quick thing, or hey, join my, especially in crypto. I mean, you're not in crypto, but like in crypto, like, join my Telegram, join my Discord, and
Mm-hmm.
it's pump and dumps, or it's how do you let people know, like, nah, like Maconomics Club, this isn't that, this is like, we're on a different type of wavelength.
Well, people got to see me in live action on the big screen. You know what I'm saying? So my
Yeah,
shit is
how do you
super
end up on
stamped.
Netflix? How'd
My
you get
shit's
how you
super stamped, and I've been giving this to the culture for a long time, right? I got a show on REVOLT TV that I've been having since, what's it, 2019. You feel me? So that's damn near 4 years now. So like, I've been stamped for the culture. So like, my name could never ever go with some scam me get rich quick. I'm gonna get in Maconomics for this, because people see my strategies are, we're getting in here. I'm gonna show you how to get rich. Facts. Now, if it's in 25 years or 30 years, it's okay. This is what they didn't teach us in school. This is what your grandparents didn't know. I'm going to teach you this. Now, when it comes to making more than just the normal S&P 500 and NASDAQ return, I'm going to show you how to do that as well. But like, right, people see me on the big screen. So it's a different thing. But I know you asked the question, how did Netflix happen? Well, it came with just a random cold call, so to speak, whether it was a DM or email. But a production company hit me saying, hey, we have an idea, a major streaming network. We have an idea for a show that is going to be on a major streaming network. Are you interested? And I'm like, yeah, you'll be working with someone helping them with their finances. I'm like, yeah, for sure. So they interview me. They're like, yo, he hard. Let's go with him, right? And then what ended up happening, I was shooting my podcast while we was in Miami at House of Athlete. Shout out my dog. Shout out Brandon Copeland for one, who I do have a podcast with called Money Music Culture. But we was at House of Athlete. Shout out Brandon Marshall, B Marsh. So we was out there, and then Copeland was like, bro, matter of fact, Buddy played for the Bears. And so I ended up talking, and I met my guy, Tease Tabor, who now plays for the Seahawks. And I'm like, yo, bro, I have a network. I was like, I got Netflix. It's a show. I can help you with your investing if you want to be in it. He's like, for sure. And then they interviewed him, and they were like, yo, he's perfect. And so we ended up, we filmed it over the course of an entire year.
Wow.
And I was going back and forth to Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and obviously, like I say, he played for the Bears, so we'll film here as well. But it was great. It was transformative, and what people get to do. And if you, to your audience, if y'all have never seen the greatest thing on Netflix right now, it ain't Wednesday, it ain't goddamn whatever the new shows is.
Yeah, whatever they are. I don't even
It's
know
Get Smart
them.
with Money, man. So definitely go check it out. But it's awesome because what you have is 4 financial coaches that are working with 4 people who get real world, really relatable stories when it comes to better managing their money. You got one person who's a nurse who got over $100,000 in debt. She's trying to get out of debt. You got a professional athlete who I'm working with who never had invested. And he's like, yo, I need to figure that out. I got you. Right. I work with, then you have another person who are making great money. They want to retire, but they spending crazy and they need to figure that out. And then you had a young lady who was living paycheck to paycheck and needed to find a side hustle. So it's really some real shit that everybody can relate to.
Yeah, that's super relatable. Awesome. Get Smart with Money. Everybody go watch that. That's super relatable. I mean, yeah, the athlete thing. I mean, athletes and actors and stuff. It's interesting because they make so much of their money, especially athletes, make so much of their money in a short amount of time that you need to kind of invest it and stretch it out. I mean, they make a lot of money too, so it's important to invest it. And actors, I know a lot of actors, and their money comes, it's up and down, right? Like they'll book a role. You get paid these lump sums. Even as a writer too, a show, you might be on a crazy show for a while, and then so yeah, that's definitely people who need to who need to like need that skill. So what's next for you? Like with the whole, I mean, you're doing more documentaries. Obviously, you have the podcast, you have the Maconomics Club. Like what do you got on the horizon?
Yeah, Maconomics now is a full-on production company that specializes in financial literacy. So working with a lot of amazing fintech companies. Obviously got, still we're in the process of, pitching other shows to major networks as well. We're gonna have going to raise a fund at some point that's going to democratize access that has usually only been reserved for accredited investors. We're going to get into books and cartoons as well.
Oh, that's cartoons actually really good. Books like kids books, because you could get people involved in it young. You know, like not everybody reads Rich Dad Poor Dad or Think and Grow Rich, or some of these, some of these investing books are very kind of dense or just boring. So yeah, I love the idea of cartoons and books. I mean, I'm assuming also children's books to go along with that. Yeah, that would be dope. That would be dope. A fund also. I mean, that would be it goes hand in hand with what you're doing
1,000.
Already. Yeah, no, fun. And also, I guess the other thing, I mean, you're like, I know you're a family man. You have two daughters, right?
Daughter and a son.
A daughter and a son. My bad. Well, I mean, what's that like? I feel like over the pandemic, I feel like I don't know. I feel like our generation or our era of sort of like young, or not, like black man, like in that era, I feel like everyone's kind of coming into their own as like a family man and like as just really. I feel like when we were like right out of college, everybody the drills and partying, but it's dope seeing everybody step into that sort of family man era. Like, how's that been for you?
It's the next era, right? It's the next point of life, right? You're just getting closer to your dreams, closer to your goals, and you find your partner. Better blessings come. Bigger blessings come to those who find their spouse, right? You got more focus, you got a more defined purpose, and especially when you see kids that look like you know what you're doing it for. I don't know if you can hear my daughter in the background. She's trying to come up the stairs right now. So it's just real. Like, it's just more, it stimulates your grind, and it just kicks you into another degree that you ain't know that you could even go. It's just a different drive. You feel me? So I love it.
Yeah, I love the videos too, like them, being in your videos. And yeah, I do think like it feels like it gives you that purpose of like, what am I doing it all for, right? If you make a whole bunch of money and you don't have anybody to pass it on to, then like, what was it? You gonna have a building with your name on it somewhere? Like, what was it all for? So I definitely love that. Because I love like watching, because I just remember back. And actually, I wasn't going out like that because I was doing I'm sure you weren't either, like doing the whole investment banking thing. But, I feel like what was cool, I think it almost goes hand in hand with like making investing cool. Like, I feel like 5, 6, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, what was cool was like, man, I'm bottles, models, I'm at the table, I got the section, we throwing the drill, we doing that.
That's still cool to motherfuckers that's 22, 23, 24 though. It's just natural. What it is just wasn't glorified in terms of your circle, right? So put it like this. When we were 22, 23, 24, I
glorified it. Yeah. I mean, I glorified.
But no, I'm saying there were young 30-year-olds coming into their careers, also getting spouses. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so right now, you might not know no 22, 23-year-olds, but they're going out every day still. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You know what I'm saying? It might be a Thirsty Thursdays or Wednesday. Like they still doing that. And so it's the same shit. The world is everything's the same. You know what I'm saying? It's just where you at in life.
Yeah,
that's a fact, bro. It's just growth, gang.
Yeah, no, it is great. I love seeing everybody grow. I feel like especially over the past couple of years, you just be scrolling, you'll see somebody like on a vacation.
Because there's someone right now There's a crew of young shorties in New York right now that are 22, 23, and they're partying. It's Thursday right now. Some people going out, meatpacking district on a Thursday. You know what I'm saying? The young cats that just came out of NYU or whatever right there too. They doing that. That's going to continue to be like anytime. If it's like clubs will continue like this economy keep going. So people still spending money. It's just where you're at. Your friends are also getting older, but if you just stayed and only hung with 23-year-olds, then that'd be the same life. But as you get older, everybody gets a little more established in their career. Now, I remember I was talking to one of the homies. I'm like, the dopest shit is the people that you was partying with when you was 22, 23, 25 or whatever, when they become real decision makers in their job. They not no person going to run to get the paper and the coffee and shit no more. Like they making they have someone doing that. They got assistants now, and so as you get older, it's just like that growth. It's like, man, I'm calling real people that make plays now. You know.
Yeah, or dudes with their own funds, with their own companies, or things like that. Where they have portfolio companies. So yeah, it's definitely been dope to watch. To watch the people who we used to kind of run around with in New York. We'll pull up to that apartment at Harlem on a Friday night. Saturday night, have a little kickback. And now it's like, all right, people are really on this shit now. Really, really having. You say, like, I think having a partner really. Because now you're not outside like chasing whatever, right? You're not. Also, I'm sure having kids too. I feel like it just sharpens your focus. So that it's definitely been dope to watch. People step into that era of their lives. But all right, man. Like, I mean, any last? Like, give us. Well, I guess we gotta go to the Maconomics. We gotta join the group for the stock tips. But I think I guess follow you too, so we can see what you're what you're buying and what you're selling.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. Appreciate you having me, man. Definitely get in tune, man.
For sure. Show the people. Tell them where they can find you.
Definitely, yeah. Maconomics.com. You can follow me on all socials at I'm Ross Mac, at Maconomics on TikTok. For some reason, I blew that. Yeah, if you got any questions, just DM me or shoot me a text 773-232-2577.
All right, man. Yeah, I appreciate it, man, and I look forward to the fund. I look forward to everything. I know whatever you touch is gonna blossom. So I appreciate you joining me,
brother. Much love. Appreciate you.
Okay, that was Shareef. Make sure to like, rate, review, comment, all the engagement verbs you can think of, and remember, Not Another Industry Podcast is an excuse for me to talk to people from across the entertainment industry, people, actors, models, entrepreneurs, producers, writers, all those things, and for me to bring their insights to you. And if you want to keep supporting, make sure to subscribe, like, rate, review, all those incredible things. See you next time.